Assalamualaikum students. I'm a teacher from Ilm Online Academy. Today in this lecture, I'm going to talk about the sequences, and this is basically a really important topic for the students to cover. So basically in sequences, there will be some kind of sequence according to some kind of order. Order can be increasing or decreasing. Fine. If the terms are basically increasing in a systematic manner, so that systematic manner you need to check carefully that either we needs to add one number or subtract a number, like similar numbers, sometimes different numbers. Fine. So this I will explain further. But two types of sequences can be there, increasing and decreasing. So if you will be checking any example from here, for example, this question number 4 is basically a decreasing sequence because the terms are basically decreasing in systematic manner. So all of these numbers or the objects that we are just collecting to make a sequence, these are basically called as terms. Okay, like this is your term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4. And terms you can represent by a small a, like a1, a2, a3, and so on. Okay, these numbers are basically, these dots are basically showing that these terms are having infinite numbers. So the numbers that are in the sequence, they are basically called the terms of the sequence. So usually if we are going to talk about the sequences, there are basically two types of sequences. Okay, one is basically arithmetic and the other one is geometric. So the term arithmetic sequence is basically related to the addition and subtraction of the numbers. So either we can add the, so in an arithmetic sequence, basically either you are going to add or subtract a common number each time. Like there will be a similar number that you can add again and again or subtract again and again to get the next term. That is basically called the arithmetic sequence. If we will be talking about the geometric sequence, so the terms you can get either by multiplying any number or either by dividing by any number. So that is basically geometric sequence. But if your terms sequence difference is similar, that can be also called as linear sequence. Okay, if all the numbers or all the terms are having similar difference or the common difference is there, then they will be that can be a linear sequence as well or an arithmetic sequence. Okay, so whenever we are just dealing with the sequence, so we need to find out sometimes the next sequence or the next term according to that sequence. So we need to have a term to term rule. Term to term rule is very simple. Like either you need to check that you will get the next term either by adding something, either by subtracting something, by multiplying any number, or by dividing any number. So that will be basically called your term to term rule for arithmetic or the linear sequences. Okay. So let's start our exercise 1.4a, in which they have been given some sequences, and from question number 1 up till 4, we need to state the term to term rule as well as we need to tell them the next two terms of each sequence. So next two terms easily you can get if you know the term to term rule. Okay, if term to term rule is clear, then the next sequence will be also clear. So let's start. First of all, we have question number 1. And in this question number 1, they gave us the sequence 2, 6, 10, 14. So you will be finding out first of all the common difference. So common difference, like you need to check not only for the first one, but you will be checking for the others as well. Okay. So common difference. Whenever we are finding the common difference, we need to find out the common difference in this way that you will be always subtracting your first term from the second term. Okay, like this is your first term, this is your second term. So for finding out the first common difference, you will be subtracting the second term and the first term in this way. Okay, second term will be always first, either that is smaller, either that is greater. So 6 negative 2 is 4. This is your first difference. Like we need to add 4 to get the next term. Next, we need to find out the next common difference. Or so for that, you will be taking your third term and subtract the second term from that. So 10 negative 6 will be 4. Again, you got the similar common difference. You can check for the third one as well. Like 2 to 3 times you can check and then it will be okay for you. So now we will be taking the fourth term first, that is 14, and from this we are going to subtract the third term, that is 10. So 14 negative 10 as well as 4. So as your common difference for all of these terms are exactly similar, it means that this is a linear sequence. Okay, and accordingly we can find out the next two terms of the sequence. So the next term is fifth and the sixth one term. First of all, finding the fifth term of the sequence, how you will be finding, as our last, like the term for the fourth term is 14, and in this you are going to add the similar common difference that you got is 4. So 14 plus 4 will be 18. This is your fifth term. Okay. Next is we need to get the sixth term of the sequence, as they are asking for the two terms. So next is the sixth term. For that, you will be taking your fifth term, and in this you are again going to add the common difference, that is 4. So 18 plus 4 will be 22. So the next two terms of the sequence are 18 and 22. Okay, 18 and 22, and your common difference is 4. And now we need to write down term to term rule for this sequence. So term to term rule is add 4 every time to get the next term. Okay, so these kind of sequence where the common differences are similar, so they will be basically called the linear sequence. Either you are getting the next term by adding something, either you are getting the next term by subtracting something. So this is your part number 1. Hope so this is clear. Now let's move towards the second part, and in this as well we need to find out the similar things. So let's go on quickly. We have 2, 9, 16 and 23. So first of all, let's find out the common difference. So for finding out the common difference, each time you will be subtracting your first term from the next term. So that will be your common difference. So first common difference is 9 negative 2, and that will be 7. After that, the next common difference will be, you can represent the common difference by CD as well, common difference. Next will be 16 negative 9. In this as well, like you have the common difference is 7. And the third common difference will be 23 negative 16. And in this as well, you have the similar common difference. So if your common difference is similar, so you can write your term to term rule. That is basically add 7 each time. So this is your term to term rule, and as we need to find out the next two terms of the sequence as well. So first of all, we will be finding the fifth term of the sequence. So finding the fifth term, we will be picking up the last term, that is 23, and in this I'm going to add 7. So 23 and 7 will be 30. Next, we need to find out the sixth term of the sequence. For finding the sixth term in the last term, 30th, we need to add 7, the common difference, and it's coming 37. Okay, so in this way, you can easily find out your next two terms and your term to term rule as well. Okay, so the third one sequence that they gave, it's basically a decreasing sequence. This one is not an increasing sequence. So this time, your term to term rule is a bit different. In this way, let's find out. For question number 3, the sequence that they give is 95, 87, 79, 71. So first of all, let's find out the common difference. So the first common difference is 87 negative 95. So here the common difference will be a negative number because 95 is a greater number and it's having a negative sign. So negative 8 is coming the common difference. Next, one more common difference we can find out. So 7 from 79 we can subtract 87, and again we are getting 8 as your common difference. So it means that here for getting the next term each time we need to just subtract 8. Okay, because we have a negative common difference. So term to term rule will be subtract 8. And as this is your term to term rule, so accordingly, our fifth and sixth term we need to find out. So fifth term will be from 71, you need to subtract 8 now, so to get the next term. So 71 negative 8 will be 63. Next, we need to get the sixth term. So for finding the sixth term of the sequence, we are going to subtract 8 again from the last term, that is 63. So this will be 55. So these are your next two terms of the sequence, and this is your term to term rule. Okay, now check the fourth one question. This is again a decreasing sequence because the terms are basically decreasing, and somehow we have a negative number as well. So let's find out that how we are going to find out the next terms of the sequence. So part number 4, we have 13, 8, 3, negative 2. So again, first of all, we are going to find out the common difference. So 8, negative 13. 8, negative 13 will be negative 5. Finding the one more common difference, 3, negative 8 will be negative 5. So it means that your term to term rule is subtract 5 each time. Okay, this is your term to term rule. Like we need to subtract 5. So now to get the fifth and the sixth term, we are going to do the similar thing. Like from the last term, that is negative 2, we are going to subtract 5. So negative 2 and negative 5 will be negative 7. Sixth term will be in this way, that from the last term, we are going to subtract 5 now. So negative 5, 7 and negative 5 will be negative 12. So this is your term to term rule, and accordingly sixth and the fifth term of the sequence. So up till over here, they were asking that you need to find out the next two terms as well as the term to term rule. But from the question number 5 and onward, we no need to find out the term to term rule. We are only going to go on with the next two terms of the sequence. The reason is that might be the terms are like the sequence is not the arithmetic one. So that's why we will be looking for like what we need to do. So going on with the fifth one part, first of all, fifth sequence is we have 7, 9, 12, and 16. So first of all, again, we need to find out the common difference. So let's find out. So what we need to add to get the next term. So 9 negative 7 is 2. Okay. Next, we need to subtract 12 and 9. 12 negative 9 will be 3. And the next common difference is like we need to subtract 16 and 12. So 16 negative 12 is 4. So like here this common difference is giving you a clear sequence that you need to add one more number each time to get the next number of the sequence. So it means that if I have 16 as my last term, so my fifth term will be in this way. Like in 16, we need to add the number 5. Okay, like 2, then adding 3, then adding 4, now adding 5. So 16 plus 5 is 21. Next, we need to go on with the sixth term of the sequence. So in 21, now I'm going to add up 6. So 21 plus 6 will be 27. So in this way, these are the two next terms of the sequences. Otherwise, in the previous sequence, the common difference was similar, linear sequence that was, and we were getting the term to term rule exactly. Okay. So this is your fifth part. Now let's go on with the part number 6. Let's see what kind of sequence we have in the sixth one. So 6 sequences 20, 17, 13, and 8. Now it's again a decreasing sequence. So let's find out the common difference. So for the sixth one, here we need to subtract any number to get the next number. So from 20, if I'm going to subtract 3, I'm going to get 17. Now from 17, I need to check that what I need to subtract to get 13. So I need to subtract 4. Now from 13, I need to subtract 5 to get the next term. So the fifth term will be from 8. Now I'm going to subtract 6. So 8 negative 6 will be 2. This is your fifth term. Now finding out the sixth term of the sequence. So from this number 2, I'm going to subtract 7. So 2 negative 7 will be negative 5. So in this way as well, the next two terms are possible. You can find them out. Okay, so next, moving on towards the part number 7, we have the sequence as 1, 2, 4, 7, 11. So let's check that it's basically an increasing sequence. So what we need to add to get the next number. So in 1, I'm going to add 1 to get the next number. In 2, I'm going to add 3, or sorry, 2. In 2, I'm going to add 2 to get 4. In 4, I'm going to add 3. And in 7, I'm going to add 5 to get 11. So now to get the fifth term of the sequence, in 11, I'm going to add 6. Okay, in this way, we will be getting a fifth sequence or fifth term. So 11 plus 6 will be 17. Next, we need to get the sixth term of the sequence. So for that reason, I'm going to add 17 and 7. Okay, 17 is the last term and 7 will be the next difference that we need to add. So 24 is your sixth term. So these two will be your fifth and the sixth term of the sequence for part number 7. Next, let's move on with part number 8. Again, it's an increasing sequence. We have 1, 2, 4, and 8. These are my terms for the sequence. So in this sequence, if you will be carefully checking, we can get the next term by multiplying by 2 each time, like to 1 times 2, to 2 times 4, 4 2 times 8, 8 2 times like this. So fifth term will be, if I'm going to multiply 8 by 2, so 8 2 times is 16. Next, we need to find out the sixth term. So 16 you need to times by 2, so 16 2 times is 32. So these are your next two terms, 16 and 32. So like there can be difference in this way as well, that either sometimes you can get the next term by adding something, or sometimes you can get the next term by multiplying or dividing as well as, okay. So next, the ninth part. In this, we have again the decreasing sequence 55, 49, 42, and 34. Okay, this is basically your sequence. So let's find out that how we can get the next term of the sequence and what is the common difference. So if we will be checking from the first difference, so I told you that always you will be taking your next term and subtract the first term from that. So I'm getting negative 6. Now if I'm going to subtract for the next sequence 42 negative 49, so that will be negative 7, and the next common difference is negative 8. Okay, from 34 you are going to subtract 42. So accordingly, this is my common difference. So for getting the next two term, my common difference will be in this way, like negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, and negative 10. So the fifth term we can get in this way. From negative 9, we need to subtract negative, oh sorry, the last term, that is 34. From we will be using the last term, and from this we need to subtract 9. So 34 negative 9 is 25. Next, we need to get the sixth term of the sequence. So for the sixth term, from 25, we need to subtract 10. So that will be 15. So these are the two next terms for this sequence. So hope so these sequences questions are getting clear. Next is part number 10. Randomly, I'm going to pick up a question, and then we can solve that one. So let's take 15th one. So rest questions you can try if you are okay with finding the next two terms of the sequence. We have 2, 5, 11, and the last term is 20. Okay, this is your 15th sequence. So let's find out that if we are able to get the next two terms of the sequence. Now for this as well, if I'm going to find out the differences of the terms, I need to add 3 into to get 5. In 5, what I need to add to get 11, I need to add 6. Next, in this, what I need to add to get the next term, that is 9. So all of these, see, like the differences that I'm getting each time, these are the multiples of 3, like 3 1 times, 3 2 times, 3 3 times. Next, we will be having 3 4 times 12, 3 5 times 15. So these are the terms that we need to add to get the next term. So for that reason, the fifth term of the sequence will be 20 plus 12. And that 20 plus 12 will be 32. Next, the sixth term for the sequence will be, in 32, we need to add 15. Because the 32 is the last term now, and in this, we need to add 15, so it's coming 47. These are the next two terms of the sequences. So let's go on with one more question. Okay, let's go on with 17. Here again, we have a decreasing sequence like 2, 3, 1, 4, and 0. So for this sequence 17, we need to check that how we can get the next term. So here in this sequence, we have 2, then 3, then 1, then 4, and then 0. So accordingly, if I need to find out my next sequence, I need to carefully check first of all the common. So if I'm going to find out the common difference, in 2 I need to add 1 to get 3. From 3 I need to subtract 2 to get 1. In 1 I need to add 3 to get 4. And from 4 I need to subtract 4 to get 0. So it means like this is also giving me a sequence like 1, 2, 3, 4, but first plus negative. And then this way we need to move. So positive, negative, and then this will be having a positive number 4, then 5. After that, negative number, but with 6. So let's find out the fifth term then. For finding out the fifth term of the sequence, in 0, I need to add 5. So this is my next term. And for sixth term, what I will do, from 5, I need to subtract 6, and it's coming negative 1. So these are my next two terms of the sequences. So hope so this one lecture is clear to you for 1.4a.